So yesterday we worked on strength. Now, that squat for everybody, that's not the only thing that might be impeding you from getting down and up, from getting up specifically. Sometimes it's not having enough movement at certain joints. So there's 3 different joints that are really being impacted by trying to get up from the floor. We've got ankle joints in flexion, we've got knees in flexion, and we have hips in flexion. And you need to be able to get forward and have all these things tucked in pretty tight to get yourself up. So it's not just the strength, it's these joints. One easy way to work on ankle flexion we've already been working on, and that's calf stretching. So you can look at those calf stretch videos and you can do calf stretches. The knees you're actually working on somewhat when you work on, I'm pointing to a chair that you can't even see, when you work on the squat that we were using yesterday. You'll build some strength there. But today we're going to actually work on hip and knee flexion, and you want to do it in a pretty specific way. So I've got something here to put under my head. I want you to go ahead and have something under your head. You're going to lie down on the floor. You can do this in your bed, but I would recommend trying to do it on the floor at least once to understand what's going on in your back. When your legs are extended, you have a little bit of curve in your spine. It's not flat on the floor. As you draw one knee towards your chest, at a certain point, your back is going to flatten. You're really actually, when you do that, you're tucking your pelvis under. You can see my bottom leg, my support leg bends, and my knee is actually, well, it's coming closer to my chest, but I'm not actually doing it here. I'm doing it with my back. So instead, I want to bring my knee in, figure out where that moment happens, and then back off from that. So I'm not tucked under. Keep that. Don't let that pelvis move. And I'm going to gently try and draw my knee closer to me. If I can grab further down, I would grab further down, but my back can't flatten onto the floor. So you're just going to gently pull your knee and your thigh towards your chest, but you can't move your pelvis. And you can see as I hold it longer, it does start to get closer. I actually have to think about relaxing in here, feeling the front of that joint relax, and trying to bring my knee toward my chest without flattening my back. If you're very flexible, you can grab the outside edges of your feet. But the minute I do that, my back goes flat. So I'm going to grab my shin and just keep working here. And then I'm going to switch sides, and I may not be able to move the same on each side. So I find where that is. Okay, so that's where it starts to flatten. I back off from that, and I start with the knee. And I just grab my knee. You could also grab behind your thigh, and I start working to increase that flexion at the hip and at the knee. Now, I know we sit in chairs a lot, so you think you're good at that flexion, but because when we sit in chairs, we usually tuck under, we don't actually crease this joint in the same way that you need to get up off the floor. As I said before, you can do this in bed before you get up in the morning or when you're going to bed at night, but you have to learn where your pelvis is, because in the bed, it's harder to feel that back flatten onto the floor because you've got a mattress that's a little squishy that meets your spine. So that's a way to start to increase this mobility at these joints. Everybody's going to start where they start. I have quite a bit at the knees and at the ankles, but actually at my hip, it's pretty tight. And that's one of my limiting factors in getting back up. So we want to be able to get that weight forward, and in order to get that weight forward, you really have to be able to bend everywhere. Calf stretch, and that particular, I don't even know what to call it. It's a stretch bringing your knee to your chest. Knee to chest, we'll call it that. So that is today's work in Sit Less, Move More. That's part of the Sit Rise. These things take a long time to change. So don't just think if you start doing that for 3 days, you're suddenly going to get up. It might get a little better, but it's going to take some time. We are reorganizing how our bodies are working, and they've got some long-held habits. So just be kind to yourself. See if you can work with this knee to chest stretch. I don't know what we're calling it. That's what we're calling it. And go.